Namaste. Good evening. This is Dr. Aparna. I am an Ayurvedic psychotherapist. I am on my pursuit to address, promote, and propagate Ayurveda and psychotherapy globally. I act as a catalyst and support your emotional healing journey. uh, I've treated thousands of clients with mental health issues with no medicines. So I am your emotional healing synergist. I am a medical writer and an infopreneur. So, we were discussing about neuro-linguistic programming in the last session. So, today we are going to discuss about a technique called reframing. That is one of the core techniques used in neuro-linguistic programming. There are many techniques in neuro-linguistic programming. Today we are going to discuss about reframing. So, reframing in neuro-linguistic programming, if I have to simply define it, or simply give an idiom, it is changing one's perspective. And by changing one's our perspective, changing the world for us, changing the perspective and changing the way we perceive the world. So here, neuro-linguistic programming, for those who have missed, so is a communication and personal development model. So NLP is a personal development model that explores the connection between language, thought patterns, and behavior. So, when I talk of reframing, it is a powerful NLP technique. It is a language that uses words in a different way, which in turn changes the meaning. So, what happens is this will put a disadvantaged person at an advantage. So, reframing, a core NLP technique, focuses on shifting your perspective on a situation to alter its emotional impact. So, imagine looking at the same experience through a different colored lens. So, altering how you perceive and respond to a situation. So, if I have to state some examples, if we have to understand reframing with examples, so, first, from overwhelmed to energized. See, someone feeling overwhelmed by a long to do list can reframe it as an exciting roadmap for a productive day. Instead of feeling overwhelmed that I have a long to do list to do, we can reframe our mind by saying this is an exciting roadmap which I have to achieve today. It is going to be a productive day. So, this shift in the perspective, instead of feeling the burden of the list, making it exciting roadmap for a productive day. So this shift in perspective can boost their motivation and energy to tackle the tasks. So criticism as a learning opportunity. So an athlete receiving criticism from their coach, can reframe it as a valuable feedback to improve their performance. See, an athlete, suppose for example an athlete or somebody is receiving a criticism from their coach or from their managers or from their super bosses. Instead of taking it as a personal criticism, it should be taken as a valuable feedback to improve their performance. So that is called reframing. Of course, the criticism should be constructive. It should be not the criticism should not be out of jealousy or hatred. So this reframing allows them to learn and grow from the criticism rather than feeling discouraged. So shyness, being introvert people also can also take it as a thoughtful observation. That means someone struggling with shyness can reframe it as a natural tendency towards deep listening and thoughtful observation. So valuable assets in communication. So we can take the shy and introverted nature into a person who is a deep listener and a thoughtful observer. So these are the valuable assets in communication. So, this reframing helps them embrace their introverted nature and find ways to leverage its strengths. Whether you're introverted, whether you're extroverted, whether you're ambiverted, embrace your nature and finding ways to leverage it to its, maximum strengths or maximum potential. So, for example, the next example is when faced with a seemingly impossible task, someone can reframe "I can't do this" into "this is a challenging opportunity to learn and grow." That way, you're reframing the can't to a challenge. So, this reframing fosters a growth mindset and a willingness to tackle difficult situations. The next example is turning a weakness into strength. Into a strength. So, a student struggling with public speaking, a student struggling with public speaking might view it as a weakness. So, reframing it as an opportunity to develop communication skills and connect with an audience transforms a perceived weakness into a valuable learning. So we are turning a weakness into a strength. So these are some of the examples of what reframing can do. So in when we speak of neuro-linguistic programming, the reframing technique has two types. One is context reframing, other one is content reframing. So, context reframing here is this technique involves changing the context surrounding a situation or behavior. So, it helps you see that a seemingly negative trait or event can be positive depending on the circumstances. So, for example, stubbornness as persistent. We are changing the context surrounding a situation or behavior. So, what happens is we see a seemingly negative trait or event to be positive depending on the circumstances. First scenario is you consider yourself stubborn and struggle to collaborate with others. This is the scenario. A person considers himself or herself as a stubborn person and is that person struggles to collaborate with others. So reframing here in context, reframing, instead of seeing stubbornness as a negative, reframe it as persistence. So persistence allows you to stick to your convictions and see projects through, to completion. You can highlight how this quality can be valuable in negotiations or when tackling complex challenges. We see stubbornness as persistence. Persistence means that person is analyzing or sticking to his or her convictions, and he or she want to see the projects to complete. So this quality can be valuable in negotiating. So persistence is a good quality, can be valuable in negotiating or when tackling complex challenges. So we are converting, turning a weakness into strength. The second example here is shyness as selectivity. So if a person feels shy in a large social gathering. So, viewing that, see, reframing shyness as selectivity, thinking that you may prefer deep, meaningful connections over superficial interactions. So, we have to, perceive it as selectivity, because a person does not want to make superficial connections. That person want to make deep, meaningful connections, not superficial interactions. So this reframing allows a person to focus on building quality relationships rather than feeling pressured to be the center of attention in every situation. So this is context reframing. The second is content reframing. So content reframing. So this technique focuses on changing the meaning or interpretation of an event itself. So by looking at the situation from a different angle, you can find a more positive or empowering meaning. For example, failure as a learning opportunity. So, changing here in the content reframing, we are changing the meaning or interpretation of an event. So, if we have a setback or a failure, considering it as a learning opportunity. So, for example, a scenario, one person experiences a setback or failure at his or her project at work. So, reframing the failure as a learning opportunity. So, analyzing what went wrong and using that knowledge to improve your approach the next time. So, this perspective helps you to view the experience as a stepping stone towards future success. So, failure is a stepping stone towards future success. This is content reframing. Next example is taking criticism as a feedback. So, if you, for example, if a person receives a critical feedback on your work, on the project you're working on, or on the on the scenario you're working on, so reframing that criticism as a constructive feedback. So what happens is this allows a person to identify the areas for improvement and grow from the experience. So, view this as an opportunity to refine your skills and achieve better results in future. So, we have to some points here to remember is the effectiveness of reframing depends on finding a perspective that resonates with you. So reframing is, always you when reframing you have to consider your individual values and goals when reframing a situation. So, practicing reframing regularly to develop a more empowering way of thinking. So, if we have to, by using, reframing technique, we can transform negative perceptions into positive ones. What happens is this leads to greater resilience and a more optimistic outlook of life. So, reframing across domains, where all reframing is used. So, psychotherapy. Therapists use reframing to help clients see situations less negatively. For example, reframing social anxiety as a heightened sense of awareness. If a person is, suffering with social anxiety, he can't meet people, he can't go, he feels uncomfortable while he's presenting a, speaking in front of a huge audience, or he has to go in front of a huge audience. So this we consider in reframing. What we do is we make our client understand that this is a heightened sense of awareness, and this can empower individuals with social anxiety. So we use this in different mental health issues. So, and next, reframing can also be used in personal development. So, reframing can be a powerful tool for personal growth by reframing self doubt, as a catalyst for self improvement. If somebody is self doubting himself or herself, we can reframe it as a catalyst for self improvement, so individuals can develop a more positive self image. In business and sales, so reframing negative feedback or objections into valuable learning opportunities can lead to better decision making and improved customer relationships. In education, so educators can use reframing to motivate students. So reframing a challenging task as a puzzle to be solved can spark curiosity and desire to learn. Next is reframing can be used in communication. So, reframing helps people see situations from different perspectives. So, fostering empathy and understanding. So, what happens is this improves communication in personal and professional settings. Next, reframing can be used for conflict resolution. So, reframing conflict as a chance to find common ground and reach a mutually beneficial solution can facilitate more productive discussions. So, reframing is a skill that need to be developed with practice. By consciously identifying negative self talk and reframing it into a more empowering perspective, we can cultivate a more positive and resourceful mindset. So, this is brief about reframing. In the next session we are going to discuss what are the steps involved in reframing technique. So stay tuned, and till then, bye bye and namaste.